Ladies and gentlemen, it's SummerSlam time, and you know what time it is on CTS. We got Hulkamania out, and we're going to be talking some WWE SummerSlam. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to the biggest wrestling fans known to man, one of my favorite actors, Mike Messier. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm good, buddy. I'm glad to be here with you, gentlemen, to discuss SummerSlam 2021. I can't believe that it's already here, and so many SummerSlam memories. I wore a T-shirt today of a SummerSlam Intercontinental title victory, Ultimate Warrior, defeating the Honky Tonk Man, the very first SummerSlam, which was to have been the very first title change of any kind at a SummerSlam, and we'll see if there's title changes in 2021 at SummerSlam.
And one of the top comedians on Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. He's not only a comedian, he was a former mayor and author, ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Nunez. Jeremy, how you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for the intro. You also forgot retired pro wrestler. I am a new Midwest heavyweight champion at one point in time, of course. Not to brag or anything, though, Joe. Yeah, looking forward to it. Honestly, prefer AEW 100 times over WWE, but WWE is sort of like the old dude who was really awesome in high school, but is trying to just maintain his relevance. I think that's where we are. But they can bail themselves out if they can have a great pay-per-view here. We'll find out.
That's right. So let's go ahead and get down to business because Mike is at Disney World and he don't got a lot of time, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to get right to it. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The Raw Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley, Nikki Ash, and Charlotte Flair. Who do y'all got?
I'm taking Rhea Ripley because I feel that they gave this superhero lady a chance with the gimmick and the title, but I feel that whatever they were trying to do with that hasn't been successful. Most fans have soured on it. They're doing that thing. A lot of fans online, at least, are saying, hey, it's not Nikki's fault, but this stinks because she's the champion, but she's getting pinned and defeated in all these non-title matches and tag teams or whatever. And so I think that Charlotte is probably going to be punished because she's been going over to Mexico with her father, Ric Flair, to see her boyfriend or fiance Andrade wrestle, Kenny Omega. So Charlotte is probably not going to get the title back in this one, if that ever was the plan. I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley. I think that they feel that Rhea has committed to WWE. She's tall. She's very attractive. She has a different type of look. And I think they're going to put it back on Rhea Ripley is my prediction.
You said Rhea Ripley is attractive.
Well, if you ever saw the pictures of her before she put all the stuff,
I did.
The tool shit in her, before she put the toolbox, the wrench and the microscope and the screwdriver and the proctology tools in her face, she was a classic blonde bombshell type. And then because she felt the need to stand out, she went Suicide Girls 2004 on us. But I find that she is very attractive, even with all the junk. I mean, it's... To me, I have tattoos, but I'm a guy. I'm not supposed to be pretty. I mean, these women should keep themselves nice and clean, but she hasn't done that, and she's a tattooed freak, but she still looks pretty good to me.
Mike, you're not supposed to be pretty, but you are very pretty. Jeremy, who you got?
So, by the way, I just want to point out when we did the Money in the Bank preview, I was accurate with all but one prediction, by the way.
Yes, you were. Ladies and gentlemen, he was.
And the only one I missed was the men's winner, and I was torn between Big E and Riddle. And, of course, I guessed the wrong guy. So for this one, I think Mike is accurate in that Nikki Ash, it's the whole thing's fading. It is. And I think he's accurate with how the WWE feels about Charlotte's current situation. But I feel it's a bit too soon to give up on Nikki Ash just yet. Vince doesn't seem to give up on his dumb ideas that quickly. So I asked my son, he's 6, so we watch Nikki Ash. It's supposed to be for the kids. The kids get into it. And he's like, why is that grown-up woman in a costume like that? I was like, I know it seems weird, but hey, on the weekend, even your mom has a few does stuff like that. So, but that's a long way of saying I think Nikki Ash, just because Vince hasn't given up on her just yet.
Well, you know what? I'm going to have to go Charlotte Flair. you got to go with the top dog. And I'm not saying that she looks like a dog by no means. She's very attractive. Charlotte Flair is she's definitely the best in the game, and I would have to say Charlotte Flair. And if you ever break up with your boyfriend or fiance, I'm married.
Well,
I can't say no more. Moving on. SmackDown Women's Championship. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going with hotness. I'm going with Sasha Banks. That's all I got. I go with hotness. I don't go, when it comes to women's wrestling, I'm going hotness. And I'm taking Sasha Banks. Mike, who you got?
I'm taking Bianca because I feel that they had a nice big match at WrestleMania. That was probably one of the best matches at WrestleMania this year. And I feel that they're going to try and top or equal that match. And I just feel that with the pattern of WWE the last few years, in order to solidify Bianca Belair as a marketable talent, she can't just beat Sasha once, she has to beat her twice. I wouldn't be surprised if they had a trilogy and these two ladies meet again at another pay-per-view, perhaps Survivor Series, perhaps earlier. But I'm going to go with Bianca for this one because I think the objective here is to solidify Bianca, and Sasha is already solidified. She's already top of the charts. Everyone knows how great Sasha Banks is. Who needs the victory more, and who does the company profit from because they would win? I think the answer is Bianca Belair. I'm going with her, and I think this will be the first match on the card. I think it'll be a great opening match if it is the opening match, and I think people will love the match, but I'm going to take Bianca with a clean, close victory.
Jeremy?
So I guess I'm the tiebreaker here, and I think once again, just about everything Mike said is dead on accurate here. They're in the business of making stars. Sasha is made. She can lose the next 20 matches and still be a star. Bianca they're still trying to make her, one of the faces of the company. She's almost there, but not quite yet. So now is not the time for her to lose. I think they're going to push her along. She's going to retain in what I feel is hands down going to be match of the night.
Well, these guys somewhat are in professional wrestling. I'm still a fan of mobile fashion. I just think Sasha Banks can kick, and that's why I'm going with Sasha Banks. Let's move on. SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Usos versus the Mysterios. It seems like to me the Mysterios just there to get beat up. I'm going to have to go with Usos.
I'm going to take the Mysterios. I feel like there was a plan in place from what we've gathered online that they were trying to do a Rock and an Uso versus a Roman Reigns and an Uso at Mania. I don't like that, but that was the rumor and innuendo. I feel that with those, I guess it's Jey Uso arrests for drunk driving recently, I feel like they didn't punish him or take away a title right away, but now I think this is the time to take a title away. I'm going to go with the feel-good story, the father and son. Am I wrong that these two haven't had the tag team titles before, or did they have the tag team titles before? But in any event, I think they're going to get the titles, father and son, tag team champions. That's my prediction.
Well, so I am the tiebreaker once again, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but once again, Mikey is correct.
Thanks, buddy.
I just think, the Usos, man, those guys than Hemingway. And at some point they got to be punished for it. So I feel like now's the time they're going to drop the belts, and they got to, again, in the business of making stars, at some point they got to elevate Dominic to be something other than Ray's son. Sort of Charlotte. Charlotte's no longer Rick's daughter. Charlotte is Charlotte. Okay, Dominic has to do the same. So for that, I think he's getting a belt.
Okay. Well, obviously, I'm being outvoted here. I'm going for the fighters. I'm going for the guys who can kick it. So I don't know what they talking about. They acting like wrestling's predetermined or something. I'm going for the tough guys. And ladies and gentlemen, speaking of tough guys, you can't get no two tougher than Sheamus and Damian Priest for the United States Championship. I'm going to have to go You know what? 10 years ago, I would have gone with Sheamus. But Damian Priest is something bad. And I'm telling you what, I think he's going to be the next big star, Damian Priest.
Okay, Joey, I'm gonna agree and disagree at the same time. I'm picking Damian Priest with a DQ. I think they do see something in Damian Priest, maybe more than I personally do, but I feel that this program, as far as I know, is just starting to get humming a little bit, and I feel that there's going to be a lot of title changes on SummerSlam 2021, and I feel that this way, a DQ victory will put more heat on Sheamus, and they'll extend this for another month at least. So I'm going to go with Damian Priest wins the match, but does not win the title, and disqualification victory for Priest is my prediction.
Wow. So it's going to be unanimous. I'm also going Damian Priest here. And Mikey, as you say there, I agree with both of you that they see something in Damian Priest. I don't. I just think he's kind of a guy. But, you know, what I've nicknamed this match, Sheamus versus Damian Priest, I'm calling it my kid's soccer game because I don't care.
Wow. I feel bad for the kid. They used to call it the hot dog match. I believe the first ever hot dog match was Butch Reed versus Coco Beware at WrestleMania 3 because the Pontiac Silverdome reported that hot dog sales went up 37.5% during that match. So
That's fantastic.
Rest in peace, Butch Reed.
That's right.
Let's respect the dead.
I mean, that was official before he passed away. So when Coco passes away, they can have the hot dog match in heaven rematch. It's all good.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going with my man Edge versus Seth Rollins. Man, I can't go against Edge. I don't have the heart. We got another match where I don't have the heart to go against. So I'm just going to go with my heart. I'm going with Edge.
I'm gonna take Edge too because this is how I see it. Seth Rollins can lose a match here and would not be affected. He's a heel. He's established. He's had pretty much every title. He's part of the Shield. For this new generation of fans that weren't around, I mean, Edge goes back to like '98 WWF. I think if I'm not mistaken, Edge first came in. I think his first pay-per-view match was against Owen Hart at like SummerSlam '98 or one of the shows back in '98. So Edge has been around since the late '90s, guys. I think that Edge needs a victory to stay credible. He's coming off 2 pins to the hands of Roman Reigns. I think they still want to squeeze Edge for a couple of programs, but if they have him lose to Seth here, then he's just a guy who loses, like a Goldberg. You know what I mean? So I think once again, my theory being, who needs the victory more and whose victory helps the promotion more? I think the answer to that is Edge, so I'm going with Edge with a pinfall victory.
So you guys, you know what's interesting here? I was kind of thinking you've got Edge Rollins, Goldberg Lashley, Cena Reigns. It seems each match is guys that have been stars versus guys we wish we could make mainstream stars. And so, like for this one, Edge versus Rollins, you've got a classic good versus evil here. You got a guy who looks like Jesus versus a guy who looks like he does on the beach. And so, come on, Joe, shaking his head at me. So, of all my picks, I am fully confident in all of them except this one. I really have no idea. I was leaning Rollins. Mikey, boy, you make a great case, though, for Edge. I don't know. I'm going to say Rollins just to be different.
Okay. You could be right because they could set up a rematch. If Edge wins, if Seth wins by chicanery, then you could definitely stretch out a program. So it could go either way.
Well, let's get to the main events. This is the match really I want to see. I'm kind of torn about this. We saw what happened at WrestleMania in 2020. Goldberg got his butt whooped. He's been 54 years old. I don't know. Bobby Lashley is a bad guy. I mean, he can pretty much be anybody on the roster, in my opinion. But it's still Bill Goldberg. So once again, this is the other match. I'm just gonna go with my heart. Even though I'm a Bobby Lashley fan, I can't go against Goldberg. Ladies and gentlemen, the WWE Championship. Bobby Lashley versus Bill Goldberg. I'm going Goldberg.
Jeremy, you want to take this one first this time?
Sure. So when I heard we got two bald guys with the spear going at it, I was like, oh, Apollo Crews gets a match. But so, Mikey, as you mentioned earlier, you kind of said in passing, Goldberg shows up to lose.
Right.
I feel like that's the case here. So you've got Lashley, who I've said for years could be a star if they finally gave him a push. They finally have. I think the problem is they can't write anything for the guy. He deserves to be in the spot. He's got the talent and the look for the spot, but they just can't get anything for him. So I don't know what else to add to that other than why would they take the belt off of him at this point? Doesn't seem to make sense. So I'm going to go Lashley retains.
And they're going to take the belt off him because he can't beat Goldberg. What y'all talking about? This is a sport. Get with the program.
Gee whiz. I will say I will call the time of the match. I will say in 6.5 minutes, which will actually be an entertaining 6.5 minutes. But I think Lashley will get a clean victory. I feel that Goldberg is just coming here for a paycheck. He's putting guys over. There's a lot of online hate, Joey, if you're immune to it, but a lot of people don't like this Goldberg and his son direction that they're doing. They feel
I don't pay attention to the internet marks. They still think that one of the greatest professional wrestling moments of all time at WrestleMania 9 is stupid because they didn't live through it. When you see the crowd go crazy when Hulk Hogan won the championship against Yokozuna, and you was alive during that time, you would have saw that was the biggest thing in professional wrestling. All of a sudden, these fans today who wasn't even alive during that time say, oh, that was the worst moment ever. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you what you're talking about right now. You're talking about one of the icons of professional wrestling, Bill Goldberg. I think he still has it at 54. Chris Jericho is right behind him. He's still wrestling. Man, Bill Goldberg, I got him. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on a rant.
I thought when you talk about WrestleMania 9 moments, I thought you were talking about Giant Gonzalez in the bodysuit plodding around against The Undertaker.
I used to like Elegante.
Or Kurt Hennig beating Shawn Michaels by countout. But in any event, I just think that this is a weird thing.
WrestleMania.
It was. This is a weird thing about Lashley, guys. Lashley is the Bruno Belt champion. He's got the same title lineage as Bruno Sammartino, Buddy Rogers, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Bob Backlund, Ivan Koloff, Stan Stasiak. This is the title that Bobby Lashley holds, yet he's still someone that you feel like he's got potential, or it feels like he's, in a very weird way to me, maybe because he's on Raw, but he's in the shadows of Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, and it just feels that something. And my feeling, guys, is the big screw up with Bobby Lashley was when they broke up the Hurt Business. To me, it was a huge mistake to break up the Hurt Business. The two other guys, Shelton Benjamin and who was it, Cedric Alexander, they haven't done anything. It was really, look, an African-American Four Horsemen is what they had going with the Hurt Business. It was a great lineup. All these guys can go. All those guys look good in suits. They worked well as a unit. They looked like guys who would be associated together. Like they looked like they had a great chemistry. And, Junior or whoever decides to break them up. And to me, that made no sense. And I, from what I understand, reading the dirt sheets, sorry, Joey, is that the theory that Junior had was that he doesn't like top guys having teams or having factions. Well, of course, That hasn't always been the case. There was a heel DX that had Triple H as the centerpiece. There's been other heel champions with tangents or factions throughout history. They finally had something going with all four of these guys, MVP and everybody, and they screwed it up, and it's almost like Junior has to keep the title on Lashley to prove a point, but the mojo is gone. I don't get it. I don't understand their thinking. And even that Kenneth Mobley mentioned the Hurt Business when she was doing her ill-fated interview that got her out of the promotion. So that's my take. I'm taking Lashley. I just wish that they would somehow salvage the Hurt Business and put them back together before, they're just a thing of the past altogether.
You got Roman Reigns. He's been very dominant. And then you got John Cena. And John Cena's been known to lose a lot. But think about this. The way people have been cheering for John Cena, if you think about, if you end the show and the match goes, like it was a very good match and the crowd was real into it, and somehow the guy who's just been in the movie, we can't say it because it's against YouTube guidelines, but is in that DC movie, been in a bunch of other movies, it's been away for a while, people missed him, and the match is just one of the best matches you ever seen, and he comes out and wins the Universal Championship. That would probably make it one of the best SummerSlams ever. So if everything goes right and John Cena can pull out that Superman John Cena, I think John Cena's night. I think John Cena is going to be the new Universal Championship. So I'm going John Cena against Roman Reigns.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
This one is the only other one I stand a bit torn on. Everything feels like Roman is going to win here. Cena has already made himself in showbiz. Roman's got the new Mr. Ed teeth. He's the next one to go. But will he is the question. So it feels like it makes sense for Roman to retain. On the other hand, you've got Vince McMahon who holds his grudges, and Cena's sitting there at 16 championships, tied with Ric Flair. So what if they give Cena 17 to bump him over and have him hold it as himself? If he is the champ, he holds that record. Simultaneously, he's going around promoting his movie while simultaneously promoting the WWE. So,
Jeremy, I'm gonna cut you off with that. Doesn't that make you a 15-time loser? I mean, whatever happened to being like Luthez, or Bruno Sammartino? You talk about? Okay, we're talking about the World Wrestling Entertainment, so we're talking Bruno Sammartino. We're talking Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's Bruno Sammartino. They wouldn't, 18-time world champions. Now, Ric Flair was world champion 16 times, but he was world champion over a number of years. John Cena's been, since 2002? And he won the first title in 2005. So from 2005 to 2021, 2020, 15 years, he's lost the championship 15 times. 16 times. I mean, how many other times? I don't know the math. But the bottom line is this. Doesn't that kind of make you suck?
Well, I think it means 16 times they trusted you to be the guy, but I'm with you.
Yeah, that's 16 times they make you lose.
I'm with you. It does sound more prestigious. Is it? I held the belt 16 times, or I held it one time for 12 years. You sound much tougher, I guess, if you held it 12 years.
When you're a champion, your job is to keep the championship.
Yeah, and I recall somebody on WCW, I don't remember who it was cutting a promo against Ric Flair, who at the time was bragging he was maybe a 13-time champion. And the guy said to him, "Yeah, you may have won it 13 times, so that means you've lost it 12, and it's about to be 13 when I take you on." But nonetheless, I am very skittishly gonna go Roman Reigns here.
Okay, Mike.
I think that the money is with a Cena victory. If that's for me, I'm not here. I think for me, I think for me, the question once again is, what's the story? If Roman Reigns retains the title by beating Cena, you've got no story. If John Cena wins the title, like Joey was saying, you've got all the talk shows and everything else that comes with it. You've got John Cena with that Universal title going. I always want to say Regis and Kathy Lee, but I think Regis passed away. But Kelly Ripa and Justin Timberlake or whoever her co-host is. But I just see that John Cena doing a promotional tour. He's got a couple of movies out. If I'm not mistaken, I thought John Cena said on the Howard Stern show or somebody's show that the WWE actually owns a chunk of his real name now. Like his name, which is John Cena, the WWE, they made some type of licensing deal that I could be wrong, but like if Cena makes money doing movies, that benefits the WWE. I could be wrong on that, but I thought that's what I heard. So my point is, there is no story if Roman Reigns beats Cena. This Roman Reigns versus Rock thing may or may not happen at this point. I would say that signs are leading that it's not going to happen. I think Cena has become the guy you go to, meaning Hollywood and now WWE, if The Rock's not available. And I think that this is what's going to happen. I think Cena's going to get that title. He'll parade it around the talk show circuit. He'll parade it around the Hollywood red carpets. He will probably, he'll come on to the wrestling shows, Raw and SmackDown, and do his thing there. But his next title defense will probably be on pay-per-view, and he'll probably lose it to Roman, either an immediate rematch or they'll stretch it out to Survivor Series or something like that. But I do feel that Cena's going to walk away with that title. To Jeremy's point about giving Cena a title reign as a slap in the face to Ric Flair, I do think that's a part of it, but I think the bigger story is we need a story here. The WWE is desperate for a story. They haven't had a story in a while. And like I said, Rock versus Roman, you could still do that a year from now or 6 months from now, but John Cena is going to get that belt. They also had a pay-per-view match, I think, three and a half years ago that Roman won. So if you want to have a future rematch at a WrestleMania with Cena and Reigns, you've got to give Cena a victory now for the future. So it's a trilogy. It's a tiebreaker in the future. You can't have Roman beat this guy twice and then try to do a WrestleMania match with these two. So my point is, it's got to be Cena. Not that it has to be, but I think it will be Cena, and he'll get that title, and that'll be it. And it's a feel-good moment because I think what WWE, one of the wrestlers, talking about Nexus, the Wade Barrett, he was doing a shoot interview about why Nexus all lost to John Cena at a SummerSlam, and he said because Junior told them SummerSlam needs a happy ending. Well, I think the happy ending here would be Cena winning the title, not Roman Reigns defeating Cena. So I'm going with John Cena for the title.
So there you have you. So Jeremy's got Roman Reigns. I got John Cena, and Mike is sticking with the smart man, John Cena, because let's face the facts. I am the moneymaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the SummerSlam preview. Mike, real fast, tell everybody where and when they can see you.
Well, Mike Messier, A Distance from Avalon, When the Dying and the Dead Reunite. That's my book, available on Amazon. I also have a film primer that's a Kindle exclusive. This book you can get on Kindle or on standard. It's a book that I wrote with real live words, but people say it's a 2-hour read and they enjoy it. And subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel is finally pulling up on that 1,000 subscriber mark. So thanks to you, Joey, for having me on your show. I'm sure that's helped get me some subscribers, and I've been doing a lot of podcasts lately with different folks, and I'm happy to do it. These are fun topics. I mean, despite all the things I say about WWE, I will give them credit. They know when to pull their trump card, so to speak, and this John Cena coming back to challenge Roman Reigns is a trump card. And if they can get it to be a good match, I'm thinking these guys are going to give you 35 minutes on this pay-per-view. It could be a really good match. So MikeMessier.com, subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel, and the book.
Well, Mike, you're part of the CTS family. Even if you don't want to be, you're part of the CTS family.
Well, I'm here.
You're like that. You're like that adopted kid that wants to escape the abusive household.
Oh, God.
But we like, nope, you got to stay.
Well, happy to be here. It's fun to talk to you guys.
So Jeremy, you got the Dynamite Drop In, one of the best AEW podcasts of all time. Go ahead and tell everybody where you can find the book. Tell everybody about that great Amazon comedy special. And tell everybody where you're doing your next adult movie.
Adult movie. So, by the way, we skipped 3 matches.
Did we?
Yeah.
Whoa. Let's go ahead and do this real fast, Mike. No long paragraphs and essays.
I'm
Drew,
taking.
Hold on. Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal. I'm going Drew McIntyre.
I am taking Drew McIntyre as well via disqualification.
All right.
Jeremy?
And then I've got Bella. I did that joke on another podcast. Nobody got it. So, but I'm with you, McIntyre.
All right. The Raw Tag Team Championship, AJ Styles and Amos or whatever they want to call him, versus Randy Orton and Riddle. I'm going AJ. And, you know what? I'm going Orton and Riddle. Because they got something going on, and I think they're going to.
I'm going to take the defending champs. There might be a title change with these two in the future, but I think SummerSlam is going to have title changes already. I want to stick with Amos and Randy for SummerSlam.
I think Orton and Riddle is the coolest storyline they got going now. What's not to like about Riddle, except his entrance? It's not impressive to me. Kicks his shoes off just like I do and leave them for my wife to pick up. So, but otherwise, yeah, I go Riddle and Orton here because it'll make for some good TV later.
And last match, Eva Marie. Well, you know what? She's hot. Let's go. Oh, Alexa Bliss. 2 hotness. It's hotness versus hotness. I don't know. I'm torn. They're both hot. I'm probably gonna go with the cycle hotness, Alexa Bliss, because I probably don't. You know, Alexa Bliss is. I'm gonna tell you something. She's one of those girl next door. Even though now they're playing Psycho, but she's one of those girls that you may think you have a chance with. You don't, but it's like, you know what? I think I may, but I don't. So I'm gonna go. Eva Marie's like out there, like, no, you're never gonna have a chance with that. I'm gonna go with Alexa Bliss.
I'm taking Alexa Bliss too. I think that this is going to lead. To be honest, this might be a pleasant surprise because I think they might do something with Eva Marie gets caught up into the web of gothic horror. So I think that this match is on the show for a storyline reason. I think they're going to have Eva Marie and was it Dewdrop, her heater. I think they're going to kind of become part of a faction with Alexa Bliss. And this is kind of an introductory to that storyline that will soon be seeing Dewdrop and Eva Marie as a henchwomen for Alexa Bliss's character. So that's my prediction. Alexa with the victory.
And Jeremy, you said you got Alexa Bliss too?
Well, Alexa, you're like Alexa Bliss if you can read my mind. I have to say, she is beautiful and uncomfortable all at once, like watching a child be born, so but Mikey might be onto something. That would be really cool if that's accurate, but nonetheless I feel like there's no chance that Alexa Bliss loses this match.
All right, so once again, let's try this again. Jeremy, Dynamite Drop In, Amazon comedy special, the book. Tell everybody where you can find it.
So, yeah, if you're an AEW fan like me and fellow comedian Lee Harden, we've got the Dynamite Drop-In podcast, which every once in a while hits the most downloads in a sports podcast. And then we've got my stand-up special on Amazon Prime, Who's With Me. If you're on the Dry Bar Comedy, I'm on there. You can watch my special there. And then, of course, like Mikey, I also have a book. It's retelling the real-life experience I had as a small-town mayor and has hit the political humor bestseller charts. That is You Can't Write City Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy is also part of the CTS family, but he's one of those people that we just kidnapped. He blocked me from his email. He blocked me from the phone. I just changed emails and I just get another phone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is This has been the SummerSlam preview special. Next time is going to be Survivor Series. Is Jeremy and Mike will come back.
I'll come back. I'll be happy to, and I'd love to be on that AEW show because I've been going to so many live shows at Daly's place. My Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel has bootleg Mike Cam phone clips of the AEW Artifacts room and some of the matches, and I'd love to talk AEW because, like you said, Jeremy, I think that's the exciting show right now.
The way NWA, Impact Wrestling, and AEW is coexisting, I mean, you're looking at maybe a powerhouse of professional wrestling, especially now they got Christian Cage back at Impact Wrestling. I may check that out. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Jerry Nunez, Mike Messier, and of course, the founder. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy SummerSlam.